live, and it is great to be here with y'all once again. I think I'm not sure, but I think I think I'm on. We shall see here. Yep, and I still have not fixed the dates on the broadcast because every stinking day I am rushing to get here to make the thing happen. And I got pulled into a meeting just a little bit ago with Meredith and her staff to kind of help her with some stuff. And so I was rushing here, and then I spilled coffee on my shirt. And so my dates on my Facebook, and somebody pointed that out to me yesterday. The date on your Facebook broadcast still says July 9th. I'm like, yep, it does. And it is obviously not July 9th. So if you know what day it is, then cool, man. Then we don't have a problem. Because I obviously don't. I keep messing it up, man. So there you go. But anyway, it's good to see everybody today. Good to be here. Once again, I am broadcasting from Florida as I'm down here with Meredith and her crew. And helping her do a few things. I'm going to be working on my forte when it comes to my wife, and it comes to like this that I help her out with. My forte is marketing stuff and like graphic design and stuff like that. Now we've got somebody that does all the graphic design and does all the marketing and does all that. So I just kind of help out a little bit. But I still decorate the office. So that's what I do. I do little things like this, right? I create a scenario. I create a space, if you will, right? So I'm like all into, the feng shui of things, right? To make sure that the feng shui is not violated. I don't even know what that means, really. I do. But at any rate. So she just recently remodeled like her entire kitchen at the office, and all the bathrooms and all this stuff all got remodeled. They were dated. We've owned this building since 2015, maybe 2014. I can't remember. It's been a while. So at any rate, she's had her office here for quite a few years, and it was a bank, actually. It was a bank before we bought it. The bank moved to another place, and so they sold the building, and so we bought the bank. It still has the vault. We still have the vault. That's where we store everything. So like all this stuff, there's all kinds of files and all kinds of things that are stored in the vault. We don't lock it. This door that weighs like 500,000 pounds. And where I'm sitting right now, I used to be the drive-through lanes for the bank, and then they had a drive-through window. So when we first moved in, we had to take out the drive-through window, and we put up like a wall, and we did all that kind of stuff. So eventually we had to expand, and we built this whole section that used to be the drive-through. So that's where I'm sitting now, is a suite of offices and meeting spaces and stuff. So this is part of where Meredith she spends half of her time. Most of the time, it's half of the time. Lately it's been a little bit more, just because there's a lot of things that have been requiring her to be here. But at any rate, yeah. So wasn't the scenario on the Jersey Shore? I think, yes, he was called The Situation. The fact that I know that about the guy from the Jersey Shore, that his name was The Situation, is just sad. Like, that makes me sad inside that I know that. All right. And there's Lee from sunny Wales. Those are words that you don't often get to use together. But when Wales is sunny, it's beautiful. It's super green. It's green all the time. It's not like Texas. There is a time of year when all of a sudden, like Texas just goes brown. Like I'm just going to use earth tones now for the next few months. Right? So not in my yard though. I have a tiny little space of grass in my front yard, and then on my side yard I've got this tiny little space of grass. That's all the grass I have because we zero-scaped everything else. We rocked it. We put rock in. I've got plants that I don't really need to water all that often. I mean, it's really nice actually. But I have this little bit of grass. And so that's where the dog can go lay in the grass. And if you really want to walk in the grass, barefooted or something, and just feel that, you can go outside and just kind of stand there in the grass. But that grass is green as can be. My guy, Jaime, man, he hooked me up with all kinds of good fertilizer. He's been taking care of us. And so that grass is just green as green can be. So it does look beautiful. But Texas generally, especially the western part of Texas, is definitely very, very brown, very dry. We're about to get some rain, hopefully, here. Well, not hopefully. Maybe we'll get some rain in Texas. I have no idea. The tropical storm is moving closer and closer to Florida, so I actually had to change my flight. So I am coming home tomorrow evening rather than Saturday morning. It's probably out of an abundance of caution that I'm doing that. The thing that kind of drove me over the edge with it is I asked my father-in-law, who is a native Floridian, lived here his whole life, did fishing. He lived on, he was on boats his whole life and watching weather, watching storms, going through, however many hurricanes, and true Floridians, people who are from Florida, that grew up in Florida, don't call them hurricanes. They call them hurricanes, like hurricanes. It's kind of an interesting way to talk about it, but they call it a hurricane, at least in this part of Florida. So at any rate, I was asking him about it, and I said, so what would you do? If you were me and you had to be back by Sunday to preach, because I don't want to have to preach via Zoom or something stupid like that. He said I would go. I'd go tomorrow, So anyway, I took his advice, even though it bummed my wife out that I'm leaving a little bit early. But my son is here, and they're going to have a good time. They're going to go do something. So it's been nice being able to hang out with them and to be here to support her. She does so much to support my work, to do all the things that she does. And so it's nice to be able to come here once in a while, especially, honestly, it's for most of the folks in the interactions that I'm having with people, it's the same as if I was in Texas, right now, because I'm doing these every day. I went to my staff meeting, did pastoral care meeting, had a couple of phone meetings doing. If I was in Texas, I would be in my office there. Now, granted, my office is a little bit more comfortable for me. I've got more equipment and I've got more stuff. But I will say that the chair here is much better than my chair. I wish I could smuggle this chair back home with me. I went and bought a chair when the coronavirus stuff started happening, because I was like, I need a new chair bad. This sucks. So I've got to work on the settings. I think the lumbar part of my chair is not right. But yeah. So at any rate, let's see. Yeah. So I'm just trying to look through everybody to see if I'm missing anything. It's oh man, it's bad. Sad to hear that Patty's not feeling well. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. But hopefully she'll get to feeling better. I know y'all got your coffee and conversation today with the primetime group, so I know you're looking forward to that. Okay. So so much happening in the world. I don't even want to go into it. It's just, I mean, I guess I do. It's kind of funny. like the things that set people off. Poor Meredith. I thought that I, was stepping in it when I started talking about stuff online about race and about, just kind of calling some things as they are. But Meredith posted a thing about she did two things. First, she posted there was that video that was going around that all the white nationalists and alt-right people were reposting and posting, and the president did, and all these other people, of the woman that and the quote unquote doctors who were talking about how you don't need to wear a mask. We've got a cure, the cure that they're talking about is one that actually has been proven to kill people too. So, of course, God, I mean, anything, everything will kill you, apparently. But at any rate, there's some science to back it up and so forth. Anyway, long story short, Facebook started banning that video. Because it's funny to see like all of these, sort of very, very conservative leaning folks on my Facebook feed who were trying to post that video, trying to repost it. And then Facebook kept killing it and then would put that what they've started doing is they'll put like a news article that demonstrates the reasons why that thing was false and why it was not a true news story, right? And so that's what they did with that. And so, of course, then everyone that was doing that was saying, oh, Facebook is censoring me, but they won't censor these people. They'll censor me from posting this video from some wackadoo website that's constructed by some dudes in their basement wearing tinfoil hats. But they, they won't, bust up the Huff Post or, NPR or Reuters or whoever else. So anyway, the funny thing is that it started kind of a firestorm on Meredith's Facebook page, which was kind of funny. But not so funny that, you don't want to, you don't ever want to have those kind of things happening. But somebody left a really funny thing about the particular doctor that they're talking about, the one that keeps getting up and saying things, I'm sure. So like all of the stuff that she has said is they're starting to like come out now. And here's the thing, my question is like, where did she go to medical school? Like which medical school are we talking about here? Is it like some medical school in the Caribbean, that might not, be up to snuff? I have no idea. At any rate, so these are things that she has said. Like these are documented. So it's like documented that she said, like in sermons mostly. She's a preacher. Naturally, right? This is what happens to me, right? It gets reported in the news and they go, oh, she's some Christian pastor. And I'm like, wait a minute. Let's be clear about what lane she's in, right? Because, I don't know, it's like when you see a news story and then like, they say like, somebody from whatever town that you used to be from, and it's like some toothless individual that can't string two words together, and they're interviewing him, and that person is now representative of your town. You're like, oh, head clutching. So this stuff happens to me all the time when it comes to preachers like this, or preachers that are the guy that was like trying to blow the virus away, Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland has been doing silly stuff his entire life on television. And he's just one of those TV evangelist guys that like makes all these crazy claims and like, used to send out, his prayer cloths and stuff like that. Of course, you can't do that anymore. So anyway, Kenneth Copeland was blowing the virus away. He was doing like a thing where he's doing that. If you want to look that up, it's super funny. Anyway, so these are some of the things that she said. Alien DNA is currently being used in medical treatments. Nice. Scientists have plans to install microchips in people and are developing a vaccine to prevent people from being religious. The funny thing is that is not the first time that I have heard that. It's not the first time that I've seen something like that on social media. posted by somebody that I knew. So that's crazy. Government, this is my favorite one. The government is run in part by reptilians and other aliens. So you know what this is. This is the movie I was telling y'all about, like back in the coronavirus days. The movie with Rowdy Roddy Piper from the 1980s called They Live, where he got a special pair of glasses that when he put them on, he was able to see all of the aliens kind of in their reptilian form. So maybe she's right. Maybe all we need are just the right kind of glasses, and then we too can see all of these things. The magic 8-ball, you know, where you shake it and you look at it, sources say no, you know, that kind of stuff. The magic 8-ball toy is psychic and is part of a scheme to get children used to witchcraft. All right. The Illuminati, of course, the Illuminati has to be here. The Illuminati has to be part of this, right? The Illuminati has a plan hatched by a witch to destroy the world using abortion, gay marriage, and children's toys. Oh, of course, right? I mean, and children's toys. Oh, yeah. And of course, she's got stuff about Harry Potter and that schools teach children to meditate so that they can meet with demons. It goes on and on and on. If you want to read the whole list, you can go to my Instagram page. I usually post stuff on Instagram that I wouldn't dare post on Facebook just because I would have to listen to all of the people on Facebook, you know. So there's less of them on Instagram. So anyway, man, those were fantastic. Anyway, if you want to take a look at that, you can take a look at that list. It's pretty funny. Okay. So yeah, here we go. She's still paying her neck. It's not me. Anyway, all right, guys. All right, cool. So we got all kinds of good stuff coming up. Hopefully I did not hear anything about the class last night. So if any of y'all went to the class, you have to let me know. I wish I could have been there. But I needed to do some things here with some friends we haven't seen in a very long time, and so we were able to connect with them. And anyway, so that was good. But I know that it probably went great, and I'm excited to hear more about that and the discussions and conversations that took place at our Conversations on Racial Injustice class that happens on Wednesdays. I will be there this coming Wednesday. I'll be back in Texas for a bit, quite a bit, probably. I don't know when I'm coming back here to Florida. I think I'm coming back at the end of August. So I'll come back at the end of August. I'm going to try to make it down every so often so that Meredith, it eases some of her travel, because if I can come and be with her and see her, and the kids can come occasionally on occasion, then, you know, we can kind of make this easier to do for her, because it's harder for her, especially during all the things going on, to do this without, from Texas remotely is, and we're working it all out. So it's just, that's all my stuff. But, occasionally you probably will see, you'll see this, like maybe, once every 5-6 weeks, I'll be here in this setting doing all my stuff. So we do have some cool things that are coming up down the road. I've talked about them here, but we're excited about this coming Sunday, the sermon series. You've probably started seeing the promos for that, about creativity. And so this Sunday, I'm going to be preaching on Genesis chapter 1. And I'm going to be focused on kind of the limitless creativity of God. And I've got some really cool stuff that I want to bring up about Genesis chapter 1 and the idea of theology and blessing. And then also kind of approaching your God ordained sort of mandate or like calling to be a co-creator with God, to continue the act of creation, to continue doing that. That's not something that just goes away, like, or that happened. God is always creating, and you and I are called to be co-creators with God. And so I'm tying it in with the ordination vows that we use as Presbyterians when somebody's ordained to be a pastor or a deacon or an elder. There's ordination vows where you say, will you serve the people with intelligence, energy, imagination, and love? So these are ordination vows that are for a particular ministry within the church, but I think they're ordination vows for all of us when it comes to fulfilling our calling to be co-creators with God. And so there's all kinds of ways that we can do that. The impulse is to be co-creators with God, the impulse to take ordinary things and to make them beautiful, to take ordinary moments and to make them beautiful. That desire, whatever it is that's within us, is something that comes from God. It is imprinted on us. So those are things that we're going to be talking about this Sunday as we begin the conversation. And then the following Sunday, we're going to hear from our pastoral intern and mission coordinator, Kelly Bratkowski. She's going to be preaching a follow-up on the Genesis poem, the Genesis story as well. So all that's going to be happening. And then, later on, we're going to hear from other folks as well. So Pastor Britta is going to be preaching some more. Beth Mueller, our Senior Director of Worship Arts, is also going to be preaching. So we'll see some of those throughout the month of August. So are you guys I know Linda says you're having, she's having a little bit of an issue. If anybody else is having issues, let her know or let me know. I'm not able to see as clearly here as I am at home. My internet at home is a lot different. So if you guys are having some issues, let me know. I'll do my very best to make sure I can rectify it. There's not a lot because I'm kind of at the whim of whatever internet I've got here. So hopefully it's just an isolated incident. Okay, so let's do a little bit of movie trivia. I want to do some movie trivia, movies that are set in Florida. So let's see. We're going to do this one. Okay, so this is a good one. Okay, so this particular movie is a remake of a French film. And it had a French title. It was a remake of that movie that was done in the 90s. It is set in South Beach. This particular remake of the movie was repositioned to be in South Beach. The original French movie was somewhere else. But the same storyline, the same, everything, but set in South Beach. So if you can think about a movie that originally was a French movie, then was remade in the 90s, maybe early 90s. I don't know the date on it, to be honest with you. So mid-90s. And set in South Beach, right? All right, Randy Riggs. Got it. So the Birdcage. The original was La Cage aux Folles, right? La Cage aux Folles. That was the original movie that was made. The Birdcage was set in South Beach. It had a wonderful cast. Of course, it had Robin Williams, Nathan Lane, who was absolutely fantastic. It also had Hank Azaria. Hank Azaria was in that movie and had a wonderful, wonderful role that he was just fantastic in that role. But Hank Azaria is also one of the voice actors for The Simpsons. He does the voice for Mo, the bartender, Chief Wiggum. I mean, there's a lot of voices that Hank Azaria does. And when I had the joy of seeing the original Broadway cast of Spamalot, the Monty Python Broadway musical Spamalot, I got to see it with Tim Curry, which Tim is like kind of in his last days. If he hasn't passed away, I mean, poor guy. And it had Hank Azaria was in it, and David Hyde Pierce. So that they were all in the Spamalot Broadway musical, and so Hank Azaria was in that, and he's been in tons of movies. And so also Gene Hackman, Diane Wiest, and what's her name that was from oh my gosh, Callista Flockhart, I think, was also in that movie, if I'm not mistaken. I can take a look at it real quick. It was like a ton of actors, man. That were really great. Yeah, so like 15 more. Let's see. Yep. Haha, I was right. So Nathan Lane, Robin Williams, Hank Azaria, Gene Hackman, Diane Wiest, Callista Flockhart. I mean, so just a fantastic cast. And it's super funny movie. And just so well done in terms of like the humanity of it, the family part of it. I mean, it was just it was a great movie. So anyway, and it was set in South Beach. South Beach is an very interesting part of Florida. It's a little pocket of like weirdness in so many ways, like super rich people, but then also all of this crazy nightlife and things like that. I haven't spent a lot of time in South Beach. When I lived down there in South Florida, I went occasionally. I would go occasionally with my Best Buy connections and have to do events and have to do things in South Beach, including a World Series. After the World Series, when the Marlins won the World Series, we did a special event with Major League Baseball in South Beach at a club, and a bunch of the players came, and Gary Sheffield and what's his name, Craig Counsell, and like all these guys that were part of that team that came and were at that party. So it was pretty cool. But anyway, South Beach is just an interesting area. Yeah, there's that's what it is. South Beach is like that. It's very interesting. You got all the Art Deco, you've got all of the craziness, you've got all this sort of mishmash of cultures with Latino culture. Like a lot of Cuban influence, and that's that. I mean, when I worked in South Florida, and my boss, the manager of the store, I was an assistant manager at Best Buy for a little while, and then I became a district marketing manager. So I was over all of South Florida for marketing. But my boss, when I was working at the store, was Cuban, and so every day at like a certain time of day, he would send out a message to all the managers, and we would all go into the manager's office and we would drink Cuban coffee together. It was nice, it was a nice thing. And the other part of it is that once you did that, you were good to go, man, for the rest of the day. It's about 2:00. You'd go get your Cuban coffee, man, and boom, away you'd go, So, but that's what all the old Cuban, guys would all do, is they would gather together for afternoon coffee, a cigar, like just kind of do that. And so those kind of things are really kind of part of that culture. It's really a cool place. Okay. Let us do some Daily Devo. How about it? Okay. Today, the Daily Devo was entitled "Keep Dreaming," and so I was talking a little bit about dreams, especially some of the recurring dreams that I've been having during this coronavirus crisis. So you'll have to forgive me for some of my confessions, I guess, in terms of the dreams that I've been having. But here you go. So I have this recurring dream that I usually will dream right as I'm drifting off to sleep. And so some of you probably have had these similar kinds of experiences where you're, it's like the dream that wakes you up, like right when you're getting ready to fall asleep. And so this one, it's nothing elaborate. It's just a head-on car collision. That's it. I mean, I'll just be drifting off, and all of a sudden, I'm dreaming that I'm driving in a car, and I'm headed for a head-on collision. I cannot even tell you how many times I've dreamed that dream. And so what happens is, like, all of a sudden, I'm just like thrown out of that dream and back into my body. Like, I feel like I'm falling or I'm jolting, and I actually will physically jerk around and have a reaction that will always wake me up. So also, I almost always have those dreams when I'm going to switch glasses, when I'm feeling stressed or tired or worried or just harboring a feeling of impending doom, which is pretty much how I feel about every other day right about now, you know? Although I will say there was some heartening news today. I think even though at least in Florida, and I haven't seen in Texas. I think the numbers are getting slightly better in Texas as well. So what's happening, I think, is the numbers are starting to, as we've been shutting things down and starting to wear masks more, the number of cases is starting to lower just a bit. The number of deaths has risen because it's kind of catching up. The folks that have been sick for a while and are not recovering, so it's kind of catching up. But the numbers themselves have started to ease down a bit, so it is having an effect. But so that was good news, at least to hear that. But I still have, it's obvious that no matter what I'm doing and what I'm trying to do to kind of mitigate, stress and to mitigate worry and stuff like that, it comes out, right? All of us have these things where it comes out. The other night I had this elaborate dream it was much more detailed. Like, there was all kinds of stuff going on, and I was going places and doing things. But I ended up I was giving somebody a ride, and I ended up car off those on ramps that we have in Austin, like when you're going up around, getting off to 35 heading north. And so you're going way up in the air, like above the city. And so as I drove over that, like I drove through it somehow. And so as the car was sailing over the side and into oblivion, I turned to my unknown passenger, who I had no idea who it was, and said to them, "I'm sorry." And then I woke up. I know that's messed up, and I get it. Like, I get why I'm having these dreams, There's so much that I feel right about now, feelings that have been difficult to put into words. There are days when I've had just enough bad cable news, just enough encounters on social media with angry, frightened people to feel like I'm about to drive over the edge. And some days it feels like things will never be right again. It feels as though we will never be able to come to any kind of unity in America over even the most basic things like equality and health and well-being. It also feels like that for many of us, our definitions of what constitutes the common good are separated by a great partisan gulf that will never be bridged. It's like we're not even seeing the same things. But still, I hold on to hope. I hold on to the hope that the dreams I'm having will be replaced by beautiful ones, hope-filled ones that might actually come true. I read this poem by Langston Hughes the other day that gave voice to this longing within me. If you've never had an opportunity to read Langston Hughes, I would highly recommend that you pick up some of his poetry. He's one of the great Black poets in America. And I'll just put his name there. But this is the poem that I wanted to share with you all today. It's called The Dream Keeper. Bring me all your dreams, you dreamers. Bring me all of your heart melodies, that I may wrap them in a blue cloud cloth, away from the too rough fingers of the world. So is it the voice of God speaking in the poem? Perhaps. It could be the voice of God telling us that our secret dreams are safe with God. It could be the voice of God assuring us it's okay to dream of a better world, a more just world, a world united in seeking the actual common good for all, a world where we're able to differentiate between personal freedom and responsibility, a world where we don't politicize viruses, a world where everyone is given the opportunity to fairly and equitably pursue life, liberty, and happiness. It could be the voice of God telling us we are safe to bring our dreams to God, and they will not be lost or dismissed. If so, it reminds me of the words of Jesus, who told those who were listening to him, "Come to me, all you who are weary and overburdened, and I will give you rest." I learned that verse when I was a little kid in a church context where the people asking me to memorize didn't really understand it at all. They assumed that the call from Jesus was to weary sinners who were tired of living a life of sin and wanted to get right with God. But it's more than that, for sure. Jesus was speaking to people who had grown weary with all the rules and regulations, the checklists and pressures that were being placed on them by the overly religious crowd. They had given up their dreams for a just and inclusive world, a world filled with hope in the midst of even the worst circumstances. And Jesus reminded them that their dreams were safe with him, safe with God, safe with the dream keeper who protects our dreams from the too rough fingers of the world. So we keep going. I mean, what else are we going to do, right? We move forward in faith and hope that the dreams we hold tightly in our hearts will one day be realized. We move forward knowing that despite all that seems overwhelming and impossible, the dream keeper is the God of the impossible, the champion of loss, the restorer of diminished hope, the one who resurrects that which we thought was dead and gone. I read this line from a Wendell Berry poem the other day, and it just resonated with me, especially considering, what we're talking about today. So here it is. Nope, that is not the person that I wanted to send it to. It assumed I was copying somebody on it. He knows if he can hold out long enough, the good is given its chance. If we can just hold on long enough, if we can keep the faith a bit longer, if we can trust our dreams to God, perhaps we will begin to see that the good is given its chance at last. We might be able to see our dreams for a better world come true right before our eyes. Keep going. Keep holding on. Keep dreaming. And may the grace and peace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you now and always. Amen. So I do hope that was something that resonated with you as it did to me. So in the midst of all of the struggle, in the midst of all the things that are going on, we still have the opportunity to share our dreams, to share our prayers, which honestly, that's what praying is, right? In a certain extent, it's the longing of your heart, the dreams of your heart that you're able to share with the divine, the dream keeper, which is a great way of, I think, a wonderful way of describing God, isn't it? In terms of just, knowing what to call God, the dream keeper. It's a great line. Okay, guys, there's like a party going on outside of the door. Outside of my door here. I have no idea what's happening. I can just hear people laughing and talking. They're having a wonderful time, I'm sure. So at any rate, I'm going to call it quits and go find out what's happening. Well, you guys have a blessed day. I will be back tomorrow morning in some capacity. And I'm going to find out what's happening with our day today and with our day tomorrow morning. So we'll see. There is a possibility that I might go play golf. And if that's the case, then I'll figure something out in order to do that. I might have to shoot a video and then play it for you guys. But we'll do that if that's the case. And if not, then I'll be here live right back here in my little studio. I'm going to leave these decorations up here, I think, so that I can come back to them. So hopefully nobody will mess with my feng shui. All right. Well, have a great day, guys. Be blessed so that you can be a blessing. Love you guys. Grateful for you and for all that you bring to the table when we come together like this, as we do each and every day. And hope that we can continue doing so for quite some time. So we will talk to you soon and see you on Sunday morning. Don't miss it. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have great stuff. And I want to remind everybody, if you have not sent me your videos of you and doing a greeting with your dog, please do that. I haven't gotten a lot, to be honest with you. And I know there's a lot of dog lovers out there. So I'm going to have Steven send out another reminder email and to put stuff on Facebook and to do all that, just to remind everybody to send me the videos so that I can do greeting videos with your dogs on Sunday. All right. Have a great day, guys. I will talk